Christine.
debating, do I
Yeah.
let it go extra long
No,
since it's a special episode,
no,
or do
they
we
got to
bring
come
it
to the
on down
conference.
and connect it?
Bring it down and connect it to the unity and the wisdom. Yes. Nope. If you want the longer version, you got to come to the conference.
In October. I
Yes.
love it. I
Unless
love
something
it.
happens with tech, and then, you're good to be live, and we're glad that you're here, right? How are you doing?
Oh, I am well, my friend. I was just giggling to myself because I was guesting on a podcast this week,
Yeah.
and they had an official tech person,
Okay.
and that came and set up microphones in front of. They were in a studio,
Mhm.
and they had like three cameras, and
Yeah.
and it was awesome, right? And it was also that I love what we do. I
Yeah.
love that I'm over here pulling down the music and that we're showing up real and we're
Yeah.
showing up how we are and sharing our knowledge about how do you do things like this, right?
Right. Yeah. And I
So,
think about it when I think about, and we could talk about it more after we do the intro, but we've been talking about the audiobook, right? And when I think about reading the chapter, Pharaoh and I have been talking about going over to the studio that we usually work out of, the Music Addict studio, right?
mhm,
And so that means that my equipment might be different than the other author's equipment. And what does that mean as far as me being able to help them with their troubleshooting or what they saw?
mhm,
And so that's what we talk about. How do you do it where you are? Because your steps are going to be different than my steps are, right? So
right?
of course, enjoying it if it's bigger, but how do you do it on each level is what we talk about.
Oh, I love that. So,
Yeah,
should we do the official intro
I
since
think
we
we
are?
should.
All right, let's do it.
Yes. Hi, ladies. I am Shannon Mitchell, a Black millennial entrepreneur and author, the founder of Shalo Glow, an all natural handmade personal products company that helps you glow from head to toe. I am a champion for your self care, business care, and intentional wellness. Ooh.
Hi, y'all. I'm Christine Gautreaux, a white social justice advocate, an international speaker, coach, and published author, and dancing social worker who helps you upgrade yourself and community care.
Together, we are a podcast rooted in the 8 dimensions of wellness and co founders of the Women Connected in Wisdom community.
And I would also like to say weavers and community organizers of the Amazon best-selling Women Connected in Wisdom book,
One of my favorite
right?
things that we've done.
Right?
Yes.
And now we are officially also podcasters who've reached a milestone of
Woo,
a
because you,
hundred episodes.
I was about to say you look pretty good for 100, Christine.
You, my friend, you
Thank you.
too.
Yes.
Oh, well, today on our rotation, because
Yeah.
as our listeners who know us, we go up and down the river with our
Yeah.
8 dimensions of wellness. And today is actually environmental wellness. And we wanted to keep it, even though it's a celebration episode, we
Right.
wanted to talk about it because it's an important topic. And before we bring some of our guests on,
Yeah.
do you want to give folks the definition?
Absolutely. So, environmental wellness is supporting your good health by occupying pleasant, stimulating environments that enhance well being. It promotes interaction with nature and also creating enjoyable personal environments, both in and out of your workplace. This includes knowing the type of environments you thrive in and having an intentional relationship with these places, including the earth.
Right?
Yeah.
I think about environment as I think about our partnership and our work, because the
Yeah.
environment is our homes, it's our
Hmm.
work, it's our
Hmm.
world, right?
Hmm.
And you and I were having this conversation as we celebrated 2 years, as we're celebrating the 100th episode.
Yeah.
Like, how long are we doing this for? What's going
Mhm.
on, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah,
I think that's part of why we're like, oh, we're going to keep doing this as long as people keep showing up and we keep having fun. And
yeah.
part of it is the environment, right?
Mhm.
Collaboration over competition, that we can do things together, that we can move forward together as colleagues and collaborators and community members,
Yeah,
and building that intentionally. Like, we've been intentional about that from the start.
right.
So
And it's interesting, I know this week we're talking about environmental wellness. And at first I said, oh, that's perfect, right? We're talking about inclusion and the community and how that helps your environment. And that goes perfect together. But when you think about it, all of them, it could have been any of the dimensions of wellness, right? Financial
Absolutely.
wellness or spiritual or social, of course, social, it feels like it makes sense. But I think that's the beauty of community. And that's why we talk about the eight dimensions and we talk about, hey, even if you have community, they might not have the capacity to support you, or they might not know, or they might not be there. Maybe there's different situations going on. And what are we going to do to make sure that we're okay as individuals, loving ourselves, taking care of ourselves, and then how do we do it on community on the different levels that we interacted at?
I love that. I
Yeah,
love that. We have a few of our former guests starting to pop into our green room, so we're
yeah,
going to
we
get
do.
them up on stage in a few minutes. But before we do, when you think about 100 episodes, what do you think about?
Mm. So recently, I've been thinking about the second volume, right, for the book, and I was flying to New Jersey for Christmas, and I was reading the different chapters from the ladies, and thinking about what questions I wanted to ask them at the book signing, right? And I think about volume two and how if there is not an author younger than me, we can't say that, oh, we have authors that range from 20s to 80s because I'm getting older and I'll be 30 by the time that is printed, right? And so 100 episodes of connecting women and people around the world to the eight dimensions of wellness. And it was something when I first heard about it, I said, absolutely. So more people need to know about it. I've got to tell at least one person. We should do social media campaign. And it was all these things. And it didn't grow at that moment, but that was the seed. And so to see
Right.
100 episodes and all of these people benefiting and their families benefiting from it is one, a dream come true,
Mhm.
and something that makes me feel like, okay, I'm in my purpose now. Now, like, this
Mm,
is what I love to do.
right.
Yeah.
I was looking at statistics today because I was doing a post on LinkedIn. Any of our LinkedIn listeners that are out there, give y'all a shout out. But
Yes.
this comes from podcast page, and it says how many podcasts are there?
Mm.
So right now there are currently around 3 to 4 million podcasts. Right? That's a
Oh, wow.
huge number, right?
Yeah.
And that's according to Listen Notes. And according to Amplify and Pod News, 44% of those podcasts have less than 3 episodes.
44%.
All right, so we already like did huge. We got more
Yeah.
than four, right?
Yes, we did.
Only 720,000 podcasts have more than 10 episodes.
Mm.
So all right, we've done 10 times that.
Wait, and what was the first number again?
The first number was 44% of those 3 to 4 million podcasts
3
have
to 4
less than
million.
3 episodes,
Okay, so 3 to 4 million, and now we're down to 700 something thousand.
right?
Okay.
Only 720,000 podcasts have
Mhm.
more than 10 episodes. Now,
Okay.
one more statistic for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
They also share that out of those 720,000 podcasts, only 156,000 are
Mm.
releasing weekly episodes. What? I don't
Yes,
have my calculator, so I'm not doing the percentages, but that's
I'll
pretty
take it.
wild.
Yeah.
That Women Connected in Wisdom is one of those 156,000 that are releasing a weekly episode and are even higher in the statistics because we've hit 100 episodes.
I love
So
it.
I just want to say thank you to all
Yes.
our guests,
Yes.
all our listeners, to you, my collaborator and friend, who
Absolutely.
we just keep showing up and
Yep.
having really cool conversations. So,
Yeah.
speaking of, we have some special guests in our green room. And if you're listening, my green room folks, turn on your cameras if you're ready to be in here. And we're going to start popping people up and saying hello. So, these are
Oh,
some blasts from the past
it's a
from
party.
our first episode, and actually has been on more than once because,
Yeah.
she's our dear friend, my co author, Sheila K. Collins. Pop on up here,
Hi,
my friend.
Sheila.
How are you?
Okay, well, I'm here. I'm here. I want credit for that. It's
Yes, you get it.
You
rainy.
you always keep showing up, my
And she's
friend.
the first
Thank
one. Was
you.
she the first one or was Cole the first one? It
I
doesn't
think
matter.
you were.
I think she
I
you're
would.
one of
I
the
think
first
you
ones.
were one of our first official
That's what we
guests,
know.
I
Good job
right?
showing up, Sheila.
Mhm.
Right. How are you? How is Pittsburgh today?
Oh, dreary and rainy, and that's why I look a bit. I was in talking to walk the dog, but the
Yeah.
rain. But I was, my pledge I made was to get outside every day, no matter what the weather is.
Yeah.
We need,
Right?
that's one of the healthy things we need to do is just get out there. So,
So have you been outside yet, or are you
yeah,
going to you're gonna
no,
go?
that's where, that's
That's
why
what
Right?
you're
I
saying,
go
that's what happened. Good job.
up.
That's
Yes,
huge. So
you
I do
did.
want to clarify Sheila was on episode number 4. She was our first guest for mental and emotional wellness.
Mm,
And we talked about still point and interplay.
mm.
Sheila, tell folks what you're up to, what you're working on right now. And I'm also going to pop Life Coach Co up here. What are you working on right now, Sheila?
Oh, here's Co. Well, of course, I'm doing stuff with you because we just really
That's
love
what we
doing
do.
self-care stuff and everything. And yeah, so now I'm working on the art of grieving. That's my next. I'm working on my book. I'm trying to get it out there. Well, get it together. We're getting it together, I would say. That's the phase we're in right now. But I'm starting to share some things with people and getting feedback from them. So like people who want to be in on this and want to give me some of their ideas. And so it's starting to shape with that. So that's been really fun to hear from people and get some ideas or some of their comments, their take on some of what I'm doing.
I love that. And do you have a link we can share with our listeners? So if somebody's interested in getting on that preview list, they could do it?
Actually, that is something I should be doing, right? Well, I know that if you go to artofgrieving.us,
Okay.
I think that should do it. And then you'll probably see a place where you can
Sign up.
sign up for
Cool.
getting in on this inner circle of
I
people.
love it.
Yeah.
I
Thank
really like,
you.
and we try not to, and I still do it, shit on ourselves, right? That's why Women Connected to Wisdom is in Manifestation Mondays, any sister circle where we talk about what we're doing is so important because there's all these things you're getting outside every day, right? Being active, you have those goals, you hit those things. Over here, you said, oh, yeah, maybe I need to include this on the list. And that's what we do. And that's why it continues to get better when we're connected.
For sure. For sure.
Yeah. Hey,
Yeah.
Cole, how you doing?
Mm.
Hey, doing
Welcome
good.
to
How are
100
you? 100th episode. A
Yeah.
100th
Yeah.
episode.
Yeah.
Mm,
First of
mhm,
all, before I even go into me, let me turn the reins.
Mhm.
How are you feeling
Great.
about this?
Super
mm.
excited. I keep hearing your voice at the conference. You said, "We are women connected in wisdom." Or it was it like one of the calls, Christine, that we were training and Co said that. And it just,
Right?
yep. And that's what we wanted.
Right?
Not just for it to be us, for it to be like, yeah, we're connected, we're dimensional, we're well, we're working on it. We're trying to
Right?
do it, trying to be active and show up and looking good, like Sheila's talking about, right?
Absolutely.
We were talking today before the show, Co, about how it's important to take a moment to pause and celebrate.
Yeah.
Hmm.
That, on this hand, we're like, woohoo, we had 100. And y'all know us as entrepreneurs and people who got a lot of things going on. We're like, oh, in this to do list, we got all this to do. And we're like, wait, everybody pause. We got to take a moment to take a
Yeah.
deep breath, to really, thank
Yes.
you for ringing the bell, to
Yes.
take in the fact that this is a milestone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if we don't pause to celebrate the milestone, then what are we doing?
Yeah, I mean, I
Sheila,
think that Christine, first of all, both of you guys have been doing some amazing things at home in your life in general. So to be able to get to 100 episodes with doing interplay and all of your social work that you do outside of all of this and have to take care of your family. Same thing with you, Shannon, taking care of your family, opening up a retail space,
Yeah.
managing. You guys have, how do you do it? It's like, how do you do
This,
this?
you, talking to you, talking to Sheila, and talk
right?
like when we talk about the
Our community.
physicality of grief, yeah, you have to work through it. Like
Mhm.
we are not without the grief. Came home, water pipe was busted in the bathroom. Took almost 3 weeks to fix. It's
Um,
always both, right? But being able to process it through, and somebody say, "Oh yeah, I need to do something," that makes me feel better. When yeah, I forgot something else. I forgot to start the stock last night, but the house didn't burn down, so it's okay. When we started the stock today and you keep going. So one step at a time.
And I love you naming that, Coach Ko, because
Yeah.
I was having breakfast with a dear friend and colleague, and Anise Ray, who's a paranormal romance writer. And I said to her, because she was kind of shooting on herself about something, I said, "Oh, stop. Let's talk about what you've been doing and holding in addition to this role." And I really had the awareness. It's a wonder, especially for women, it's a wonder we get anything done. Like with all we're holding, when you start naming off, like when we're holding households, and most of us are holding parents or children or both, and communities, and we tend, as Sheila and I talk about often, we are still the primary caregivers in the United States of America. It's something like 86% or higher are women. And so holding that caregiving role while doing all this other thing is big. And Coach Co, you're a teacher. You're holding how many little souls and spirits in your hands during the day, and then giving your knowledge and your wisdom with your life coach by Co. Like, yeah. I want to give all of us a moment. Anybody
Yes.
listening, anybody that has been a part of the show, showing up
Yes,
after the last 2 years, well done.
Yeah.
absolutely.
Really.
I just saw
Absolutely.
something that went by my screen, Cynthia or Christine. Sheila Highland had said she was here. I don't know. I guess you can see that. Yeah.
Hi,
Sheila.
Sheila.
Oh, yeah.
Hello, Sheila.
Another
Hmm.
Sheila. Yeah.
I
Right?
love it.
She's
I usually have the pleasure of having multiple Shannons. You guys know I like that. Like, yeah, the duplicity of it, right?
right.
But yeah, and that's the thing too, Ko, is when I think about the 8 dimensions of wellness is, okay, how much time do I want to be devoted to this week or this month? It's like a budget. I'm thinking about financial freedom right now. So I think about my time and I think about my money a lot of the same way a lot of times. Okay, I'm spending too much time. Christine and I were talking about batch cooking, right? I'm spending too much time on the house stuff. Yes, of course, dishes have to be washed, refrigerator, the bathroom, got to start the stock, got to fold the laundry. And when you add it up, we're at 7 hours, but this will save you from eating out and waiting on that food to be made at the
Mhm.
restaurant and the server and the
Mhm.
drive and the getting ready because it's made already. Again, we
Mhm.
can make beans and stock real quick in the Instapot because we already took the steps. So bulking it that way, the time, and then rotating it, right? So socially, if it's my dad's birthday, January 8th, okay, you get time. We're flexible with what happens. We make the plan, let it go. I didn't get to see him actually, right? I told Christine that. But now we're on to the next person, and I had time allotted for Christine and my godmom, so they go next because these ladies were already on the schedule, and that's another place where, as a business partner, as a goddaughter, as a cousin who's been there, or whatever the relationships are, I'm showing up, even if it's not every single time for everybody for everything. I just saw you last week. I just saw we talked last month, and so I can feel like I'm on a good rhythm with my different responsibilities and the hats that I wear.
Absolutely, and it's hard to manage. It's not the easiest task to manage, and I applaud you ladies for being honest about that, because a lot of times we see on social media that entrepreneurs like, I have time to do this, flexibility and this and this and this, but I'm like, when you are not necessarily at a whole another level where you're paying people to do this, or you have an assistant, you're managing all of that at your own self. You have to keep the house clean, you have to cook, you have to manage the business, the classroom, the everything, and it is not an easy task. So planning it out and being honest and saying, hey, we're all real people with real jobs and real dreams and real things that we're sharing amongst people, and we don't always get it right. But that's the thing about wellness. Wellness is a journey. It's not a race. It's not an arrival. It really is a journey, something that you aim for every day. And so I'm just really glad that you ladies have just put it out there. Hey, the pipes get busted sometimes. This person might accidentally get neglected. We have to have a conversation and communicate what we have going on. I had to talk to my friends and tell them, hey, look, these little people drain every inch of me out. I'm not neglecting y'all. I am still doing life with y'all. I'm still here. I'm still praying, but it's a lot right now for me. So please, just some grace. So just having those healthy conversations and being honest is a big deal.
Yes.
Absolutely.
I want to also mention, hold up, something that happened, and we met each other. Some of us have not in person met each other, but anyway, we're connected, and so Melanie LeBaron is one of the people that is in our book, and I have had the opportunity to meet her in person, and this is just something that I want to recommend for everybody because it really worked for me. So, Melanie, she loves organizing. I think she was born that way. See, I'm not. I am like, no, no, no. This is awful. So, what I figured out, besides I took her course, which is good, but besides that, I decided I can just imagine that I'm her. I could just I'm thinking, what if I just pretend? I can pretend like an actress. I can be her. So that's what I did over the weekend. I'm going to be her. I'm going to be this person that loves doing this and play music and all that. And I got so much done, y'all. I can't tell you. So I mean,
I love that you put on your Melanie cape, right?
Yeah, well, that was
And
it.
we will put a link to her new she only offers this class once a year, y'all.
Right.
Highly recommend it. I've taken it twice. I'm a slow learner. I'm really not, but it holds me accountable. Like when I'm in this decluttering and organizing class, you have people supporting you. You're on. It's like it's your intention, right? It's at your front
Right.
of your mind. So it's like okay, and she offers it once a year at the beginning of the year. So it's coming up in February, and we'll put a link on there in our show notes for y'all.
And use
Or
your
you can,
imagination to imagine
right?
that you could be her. Yes.
And I believe her website is transformingspace.com with
Mhm.
Melanie LeBaron. And I want to thank you for giving her that shout out, Sheila, and using that imagination. And I wanted to respond to what you said, Coach Co, talking about being real on social media. Have you seen the new app, Be Real?
No.
The college kids are loving it. And so I was introduced to it by my college age daughter. And what it is it's a social media app that is addressing the problem of being false on social media. So you have a group of friends, and I think we should do a Women Connected in Wisdom one, honest. So you have a group of friends, and when the notification comes up, you take a picture, no matter what you're doing. And it takes a picture of you, and it takes a picture of your environment. So if I'm at my computer right now, I would get me and y'all, and I'd say, podcasting, Women Connect to Wisdom, or I probably wouldn't get it because I have it on Do Not Disturb. I often get them very early in the morning because these kiddos, often it goes off at 11 p.m. at night. I'm snoozing. Sorry, snoozing. So I'll say a good morning to them. But what I found is fascinating about it is it takes down that, oh, everybody's having such a glamour, it's like I'm I just finished, studying, or I took a nap, or it's really that, what are we doing? And I'll tell on myself because one, I freaked out. I was in the bathroom and the notice went off and I couldn't figure out how to get out of the app, right? So, and then the other thing that happens is if you take a picture and you retake it, it shows that you retook it, and you're only allowed 3 pics. And then it says, nope, you don't get to do it because it's really about not being fake. It's about not being perfect. It's about, and so I got to the third pic. It was the best one out of the three because it showed me, but it was still not a great pic. And I just laughed and said, LOL, when it goes off in the bathroom and you freak out and take really bad pics. so, but it's fun to me that we're starting to have these conversations and we're starting to address that. And especially for our young people, because studies are showing, that can be the negative part of social media where they all think, oh, they look this way, or they all have a full face of makeup on all the time. No, like some of these Bill Real pictures, y'all, like one of mine recently, I was like, these just keep getting worse. Like, what is happening?
Yeah, you don't even recognize yourself anymore.
Right?
I was just telling my friends, I was just I'm always saying something inappropriate, but I was just telling my friends, I was like, oh my gosh, like everybody is getting the contouring and getting BBLs. It makes me seem like I don't have any butt. Like what? Like I'm like, like I'm looking at other people and I'm like, do I have something? Do I have anything going
Mhm.
on? Because everybody is just, just after a while, your norm of what you see starts
Mhm.
to change. Because I was looking back at stuff in the 90s, and I was like, body type has changed so much from when you watch sitcoms back in the day to us watching TV now. The whole thing has changed. And to get to your environmental topic, our environment has changed so much,
Mm.
and sometimes I don't always know if I'm keeping up. Like once upon a time, it was all about Mac, Mac, Mac. When I was in undergrad, now it's
Yeah.
everything Sephora, everything Ulta.
Oh,
It's
really?
just yeah,
Kudos.
yes, yes. But I mean,
I'll do
the thing
fine.
about it is that because I've always been like
Yeah.
kind of like into makeup, not the way that everybody like the back in the day. I have a really nice foundation or a powder, press. That's it. But it's like it's very hard to keep up with the way our environment changes so much, and
Yeah.
I need to channel my inner Melanie, to make sure that hey, I'm trying to stay organized because Christine, I'm being honest, I was a little ashamed, but you know what? I was like, whatever. After my little bout with COVID, I hired someone to help me clean up this apartment.
Mm.
I
No
was
And
like,
shame
you are
there,
not
my
even
friend.
right.
honest about
So
it. But
No shame there.
less ashamed why though? Because of how dirty it was?
no, because of I just wasn't raised like that,
To get
I just wasn't
somebody to
raised. But then
help?
I told my mom, and she was like, "Oh, good for you. That was such a good
See?
idea."
Go, mama. Go, mama.
Oh,
And
mom.
it's
So
interesting how
yeah,
things shift, right? So it's like you were basing it off of what she said however long ago, and her version of her said that the new version said, "Good job." Yep, yep.
yes.
Yeah,
So
her
And
version of her probably said that when you were at home helping her clean the house.
And that's what I used to say, right? Like, I don't want anybody to clean my house. I'm not gonna hire a maid, right? I don't want to put people in servitude. That's how I thought about it, right?
right.
My kids are gonna know how to take care of their stuff, and that's it. But I'm thinking, I'm looking at these big, beautiful houses. I want at least 40 acres is a minimum. Okay, definitely, clearly, right? So we need acres. Who's taking care of this big old house? I need somebody in here doing quarterly special cleanups, and that's it. So to
Quarterlies. I
yeah,
love it.
you know so to be able to get the help that you need, to ask for it,
Mhm.
you were sick, even if it was crazy, like you were sick. So of course you live there. So kudos to you for doing that.
Mm.
Yes.
Well, I think
Thank
that's
you.
one of the things that we often talk about at Women Connected Wisdom, but I think is a big thing. We don't have to do it by ourselves. And that includes things like housework or paperwork or taxes or who do we know that has that resource that
Right.
we can either connect with or that we can body double with or we can trade with or that to get away from this individualized pull herself up by her bootstraps mentality that everybody does it by themselves. No, they don't.
Mhm.
No, they
Nobody
don't.
does it by themselves.
Mhm.
I was in
It's
a whole other world thinking that that was the case.
Mm-mm.
right.
Because somebody made the boots. Especially here, we're blessed. I don't walk outside straight into the forest. There's paved sidewalks and it's really nice. They got curbs and everything out here. Like, I didn't build any of
Go
this.
Atlanta.
Like they have a lot of stuff. A lot of people did a lot for me to be able to move the way that I move out
Right.
and that's genuinely how it is in every situation that we find ourselves in if we're honest about it. And that's why we wanted to build it, because sometimes even if you get professional help and you have a coach, you might not, you might get the educational logic version of it, right? But when you break it down to everyday operations and this crazy situation came in, so now that takes it out of context. What do I do? You need to be able to call somebody or to pull on some experience that you've heard. And because we're honest about it, that's the only real way that it's going to work. And Christine asked me what I think about 100 episodes, right? And that's what I go back to. Why I wanted to start having these conversations on a bigger scale was because I was so frustrated. This woman is hurt, or this woman is in this situation, and she did everything she could. She did everything she knew how to do, and she didn't get the help that she needed, and she ended up in a situation that she wasn't happy with the result of. That's too many stories across too many. That could be work, that
Hmm.
could be health, that could be
Mhm.
social situations, mother daughter relationships, like Carolyn Renee talks about. That's almost in every facet of life. And it's not just circumstance. If the women aren't listened to, that's all over the place. And if the women are the caretakers, and like Sheila and Christine's book says, if their immune system is at stake and they can't talk, like the mothers and the death rate and all this, that's why it's happening. And so now we're going even deeper to, okay, now I believe this is the root of chronic illness, all this, we're holding on to stuff. And if she actually gets there and can't talk, then what is going to happen over years of that. And so in order to be part of the solution, as we are as business owners and entrepreneurs, right, let's bring some women together and really talk about what do you do to make sure you can show up at the retail space and create your systems while your pipe is burst and you're dealing with this in the middle of the wintertime. We got to be realistic about our expectations and honest with ourselves about our strengths and weaknesses. And that's what it made me think about, Christine, when you mentioned melody. Like, that's you knowing your weakness and pulling in your teammate, and that's how we
Right?
do it.
Well, you saying that about the pipe burst, and
Yeah,
Sheila and I were recently prepping for a class together, and she's got a whole beam that holds her house up being
yeah.
replaced in her studio, right? At the same time, she's like, "You're not gonna believe what's happening over here, right?"
Easy,
And
Sheila.
she was shoring up her foundation for the year for
Hmm.
years, but it life happens.
Yeah, it does.
I mean, life happens. And y'all know, our listeners know, I've been on a 6 week journey with my dad, and as caregivers, as people who care about our families and our world and our communities, there are going to be times. I mean, you look at all these mass shootings that are happening right now in California, and the grief and loss of everybody that's involved in that, right? And how there are times that we have to pause and stop and really pay attention to our mental and emotional wellness. That how do we do that?
Right. And for me in life, that's why it's so important to do the pause and the celebrate, right? Because in life, I absolutely want to give energy to this person lost their life. This happened, and as a global society now, we get that all the time. I'm opening up trying to go to women connected in wisdom podcast at gmail, and I'm finding out about this person on this news channel and this person with their kids. I'm like, wait a minute, inundated with information. But to balance it is important and know how to work through it. And that's why I love Sheila K. Collins, you being in the physical wellness with me. How do we move through the
Right.
grief and really get through it? And what's our expectation of what that looks like? We're not just going to snap and be back to what it used to be the
Mhm.
next day. It really never goes back to that. So how do we move forward in a wise way?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's sometimes it can be a little challenging to
Mhm.
move forward in a wise way, and of course,
Yeah.
sometimes like I had to tell myself this week was one of those challenging weeks where I was like, I don't know if I want to do any of what I'm doing anymore,
Mhm.
and I just had a moment where I was just like, I don't know. I was confused,
Mhm.
and I was confused on that, and is like you said, the realness of it. The world is challenging, as Christine said. The world is going to have its challenges. How do we maneuver through that? And the best course is being honest about that. Being honest and actually sitting with your feelings and not running from them, because it's easy to run from them, or it's easy to sit and not put a name to your feelings sometimes. And I had to sit and say, what are you feeling right now?
Yeah.
Overstimulated.
Mm.
And Cole, thank you so much for giving more space to that. I feel like that tied my example better. In no way do we, especially when we talk about what do they call it? Negative optimism, or like when it actually hurts you because it's not used in a realistic way, right? If we're talking
Mm-hmm.
about mass shootings in California, I'm not saying let's quickly move away from that. No,
Mm-hmm.
absolutely. That deserves the whole conversation, right? And
Mhm.
so if we're honest about or mindful and intentional about our well-being, I think it's important to how do you feel about it? And then what are the things that you use in that moment? And that's again why I love Sheila's tools, right, that she helps us with. But again, my point was to better connect it, is the pause and celebrate in balance with that. We're going to pause and give space for, and then when it's really good, let's pause and celebrate too, because the bad stuff we can't get rid of, but the good stuff sometimes we skate over. So to just
Yeah.
balance it out helps.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And we want to welcome to the stage Marla Durden, who
Marla!
just joined us. Welcome, Marla.
Hi, everyone.
She was
So happy to be
episode
here.
52. She was right close to the halfway mark with spiritual wellness and interplaying with spiritual wellness. And I thought your entrance was timely, Marla, when we're talking about this big stuff, right? How do we interplay with it? How do we bring in spiritual wellness? Like, I know you have been up to some really yummy stuff lately, my friend. So share your wisdom with us.
Well, thank you. Well, thank you for inviting me. And I am just so honored to be here with all of you. It's good to see you again, Sheila, as always. And you, Shannon, good to see you again. And nice to meet you, Life Coach Co. I am also an interplay leader, so that's where I come into the field, and I'm just really just so happy. And also, I just want to say, very proud of you, Shannon and Christine. I just want to just serve up a moment of congratulations.
Thank you so
Well
much.
Yes,
done.
yes, yes, yes. Absolutely.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank
I
you.
appreciate it.
Absolutely. It's a huge gift that you're giving all of us. It really is.
Mhm.
So gift is it's not only what you're talking about, right? The 8 dimensions of wealth, but it's who you are and how you're showing up. I mean, look at this. I mean, look at you. Could you look at yourselves? I mean, I know that people on the podcast can't, but to have, two generations, two different cultural, racial backgrounds coming together
Mhm.
to talk about this, and then bringing in generations as we have, right? That from Shannon to Dr. Collins, right? We've got this whole bandwidth that you brought. So it's more than just the dimensions of wellness. You're teaching us and showing us so many different possibilities, and I just want to lift that up and say thank you.
Absolutely.
Totally our pleasure. Sheila, do
Yes.
you have to pop off?
I do, and I just want to also say, as Marla is, that this is revolutionary. And so I want you to
Thank
know
you.
that and give yourself a pat on the back for just that
Mhm.
showing up thing, right?
Right?
Showing up thing.
Well, Sheila, and I will say to our audience, we learned from the best because you have been a trailblazer for 8 decades,
Yes.
and the work you do in the world is always revolutionary and inspiring. And we will go to artofgrieving.us and
Yes.
check in with what you're up to lately and shout it out with our folks because we always want to know what you're doing because it's always cutting edge.
Well,
So
thank you.
we will
So
be there.
Thank
So
you so much.
thanks for popping in. And Life Coach Co, do you have
Thank
to pop
you.
off?
I do. I have class tonight, so another avenue of life.
The parties.
It's Marla's time. It's Marla's time to shine with you
Right?
Yes.
guys. But
Well, go
again,
get that intellectual wellness. You
Yes.
go get
yeah.
it.
Oh yeah. I'm so proud of you guys. I'm so
We
Thank you
proud
love
of
so
you
you.
guys,
much.
and I'm so happy that I met you guys to be able to
Yes.
connect us together and make this
Absolutely.
all possible. It all started with a thought, an aggravation, and turned into something global and beautiful.
Mhm.
So you
Right?
ladies, pat yourselves on the back. We are
Thank
celebrating.
you.
We are
We're
going to be
celebrating,
there
and we'll see you
Oh,
Saturday for our local
Saturday.
folks.
Book signing. I will be
Saturday
hey.
there.
at the
I will be
Overture
there.
at
Yes.
Buckhead,
Hmm.
Yes.
you can come and meet our local Atlanta authors and
Yes.
Yes.
come have a pop up. Check out our social media because Life Coach Co will definitely be there. She's going to be in the house, and we're going to be having some fun on Saturday.
We'll
So
have such a good time. Thank you,
We are.
Co. See you
Bye.
soon.
Love you
so thank
both.
you.
love you too,
Bye. Nice to see you.
Marla.
Marla. Oh, friend.
Oh,
So I want to tell our listeners, I want to give a shout out to one of the things Marla does because she does so many amazing things. But one of the things she does is she participates in the Interplay Hidden Monastery that was started by co-founder Cynthia Winton Henry. And on Wednesdays at noon Eastern time, Marla does she does dance chapel. And on the last Wednesday of the month, she does a hip hop dance chapel that y'all I had the pleasure of getting to go to today. And I'm gonna put a link in our show notes because if you I'm just telling you, it's the best thing out there for noon for your lunch break. If you're on the East Coast, it's morning if you're on the West Coast. But if you're on the East Coast, it is the best thing you can do for yourself for lunch break. I was smiling the whole time, Marla.
Thank you,
Okay. So
Christine.
this is what we're gonna do, Marla, because I've been like wondering, right? I've been thinking about my self-care. And one episode we said, what is the thing on your budget or on your schedule that you have to protect? And one is my self-care time, right? And I realized last year I could have had a little more fun with my self-care time. So when is your hip hop class next month?
Okay, so the hip hop dance chapel is the last
Yes.
Wednesday of the month. So
So the
next
22nd.
will be on the 22nd of
Okay.
February at 9 a.m.
Eastern Standard Time?
9 a.m. Western, noon
That's
Eastern.
what she said.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay. It's in
Yeah,
the planner. I'm gonna go for my self-care
yeah.
next month.
Right?
Good. And
You
it was
will
so
not
fun
be
today.
disappointed.
Today was Earth, Wind, and Fire Day.
Ooh, I like Earth, Wind, and Fire. I was in
So
band. I'm a band
we
nerd.
yeah, right. Good. So
Well, and what do you have on the horizon, Marla? What do you want our listeners to know about what you're up to and how they can connect with you?
oh, well, you know what? Tomorrow I'm actually doing Magical Egypt is the people who created a documentary called Magical Egypt, award-winning documentary. They've been doing a lot of work in the magical realm, primarily beginning with decoding hieroglyphs in the pyramids and the all the temples. And they've decided to do this new. They're going doing this new endeavor that they're calling Women of Wisdom, and it's a group of women from all over the world who have kind of some kind of magical specialty. So we've got women who are talking about the Magdalene manuscripts. We have women talking about a woman who's talking about water, another woman talking about the power of music, another woman who's also talking about a woman who has apprenticed herself to the mushroom and what it means to work in the magical realms. And they invited me to do one on the magic of play. And so I'm doing that tomorrow at 6 o'clock my time, Western, Pacific. That'll be 9 o'clock. And I can put the link in, and it's at Magical Egypt. I'll give you the address, and then you can give it to your
We would
listeners.
love that.
It is
Absolutely.
okay, and so send that to you. It's Magical Egypt store. That's the website, but I'll have that for you. Anyway, so I'm super excited to be talking about how to connect with our allies and co-create not only with each other as humans, but with the vast, amazing, wonderful energies and frequencies and intelligences that are here to support us. So I'm super excited about that. Thank you for asking.
Oh,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Yes.
Oh, I'm just so grateful. I'm grateful for these connections. You know, one of the things Shannon and I said when you were on, which was almost a year ago, because I
Hmm.
think it was in January of 2022, was that we wanted to get out to the West Coast and see you. So, Shannon, we probably need to schedule that this year and do
Let's
a
talk
Women
about it.
Connected in Wisdom. We've got Dr. Melissa Bird out on the West Coast. We could come
Mm.
out, do a little Women Connected Wisdom book signing,
You know,
go
I like
see Marla.
consolidation. Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Right?
Yes,
We could do
That
it.
would be, we could do some
yes, you need to
interplay.
play.
We
I,
could
I need to play.
absolutely,
Christine, I
I
need to
want
come to
to
your class
too.
too, Christine, because I haven't been.
right?
Yeah.
Yes, Shannon,
I need
absolutely.
to
You
do
want
it.
to do this. You really want to come into the interplay world because I'll tell you, interplay, it has literally changed my life. I'm
Hmm.
sure you could. Christine. There's something, and I was trying to think about it. It's like, you know, in those bill sets that you get, like the Legos or those other things, like it's
Mhm.
like the super connector, right? It's like the thing
Mm.
that you can mix everything else up, but you can't really build what you want until you have the super connector. And that's
Mm.
what interplay is. Like interplay has so many foundational tools that allows us to tap the wisdom of the body, and then it gives you so many forms and ways to do that, that you can be super creative with whatever you do, including your own healing and well-being.
Mm.
Right? I think it can apply to every dimension of wellness. It really can. When you can play, you can use it as a vehicle to access yourself, the wisdom of your body, and different stories and situations. And I was talking to one of our leaders today, Gwyneth, who is in the north,
Mm.
and she is combining interplay with big art, and she's getting a social work degree. And we always say interplay is not therapy, but it's therapeutic.
Yeah.
And the power of accessing our body wisdom in fun ways. um just She was talking about her art and this project, and like I literally got goosebumps because it was so powerful. And I was like, can you please share this with our whole community?
Mhm.
And that's one of my roles as the new integrity and innovation coordinator for Interplay, is that embodied connector, and being able to say, oh, Marla, you're doing this. Will you come do this? Oh, Gwyneth, you're doing that. Will you come lift this up? I'm in heaven.
Yeah.
That I get paid to play and connect people. Like, what?
Right.
Talking about being in purpose. But
Right.
yeah, I mean, interplay. I mean, Marla, if it was only the fact that it gave me my connection to you, it
Mm.
would be worth everything. And like all the other people we know through that community, and ourselves, how we know it better. Like,
Yeah.
I think about, incremental steps and learning how to do things in you think about 100 episodes of the podcast. I'm just thinking about this right in this
Yeah.
moment. But this is
Mhm.
probably why we have Women Connected in Wisdom podcast. Because about 8 years ago, I became a certified interplay leader, and I really started doing it on the regular. And this whole thing about incremental steps, and that one step at a time, you just like, you have a big dream, but you just show up and you do it one step at a time. Because when people ask us, like, how do we get to 100 episodes? Shannon, you want to answer that? Like, how did we get here? How do
Yeah.
we do it? Right?
Yeah. Episode at a time.
Right? A
Mhm.
week at a time, a
Yeah.
meeting at a time, an
Mhm.
email at a time, a
A coffee
guest,
and chat at a time.
right? A
Yeah.
link at a time. Sometimes
Those are
not as
sometimes
timely as
2.
others.
And sometimes people would jump on and it might be at the same time, so yeah,
Right? But that
the
whole
journey.
thing about incrementality, and that
Right.
you can have a big dream and you can achieve it. Like, we did that with the podcast, we've done it with the book, we did it with the
Yeah.
conference.
Yeah. Yeah.
Marla and I have done it with our life practice program.
Mhm.
Which we have, y'all. I want to give a shout out and put in the show notes. We have a new Secrets of Interplay, which, Shannon, you might be interested in this one too. It's
Okay.
coming up at the end of March. It starts.
Mhm.
We're going to do 2 Saturdays. We're going to have it in March, and we're going to have it in April. And I will put the link to it in the show notes. But we'd love for you to come join us and play, and you find out what Interplay is about, and you find out, and you start getting connected to the community. It's a great entry point in learning about it, and it's fun. And if you're a social worker, nurse, and need CEs, we can provide continuing education units. So, as a social worker, I love the fact that you can play and meet your requirements.
It's important.
You want to add anything to that, Marla?
Mhm. Yeah, and we are really doing this, the secrets of interplay for people who help other people,
Mhm.
right? For people who are in positions where they're needing to give care and support because of their profession, to other people, and often we don't necessarily, number one, take care of ourselves the way we need to, right? And number two, because of the level of trauma, what's up, we need new tools, right? We need
Mhm.
tools that can help us more easily support the people that we are working with. And that's what this gives you. It gives you tools to do sometimes very deep and sometimes very painful work, but do it in a way that brings lightness and joy and
Mm.
a sense of well-being. So that's one of the things that we love about it.
So well said, my friend. So well said. Thank you
Thank you.
so much for joining us today. Thank you
Oh,
for
thank
being with
you.
us and celebrating. And
Yes.
before you go, because we do
Mm.
this every show,
Mhm.
every 100 episodes,
Right?
um, we have, and you get to be the lucky one, Marla, because you're here. We do wisdom in action. So when you think about environmental wellness, when you think about, because that's what we were talking about at the start of the show was environmental wellness. What do you think is gonna be your wisdom in action this week?
Hmm. You know what my wisdom in action is going to be? Is going to be planting flowers
Mm.
so that I
Mm.
can have more beauty.
So you can,
Thank
yep.
you for asking.
I love that. And I've seen a story about that. Like, an elder talking to a younger person and saying there's going to be flowers. And they say, "How do you know?" It says, "Because I'm planting them." Right? Oh, I love that, Marla.
Beautiful. Thank
What about
you.
you,
Thank
Shannon?
you both.
Of course. Thank you so much. Let's see. What is mine? I was thinking about it when we were talking before, and mine is going to be hashtag pause and celebrate.
Mhm.
Mm.
Mm.
Yeah, celebrate the 2 years, celebrate our 100 episodes, celebrate the book signing, celebrate the biggest event Shayla Glow's ever gone to. Like it's like fireworks going off right now. It's Super Bowl and then it's the Olympics, you know? Yes.
Oh, I love that. Pause and celebrate and
Yes.
plant the flowers.
Yes.
Okay, y'all. So Melody is coming into town for our
Yeah.
book signing for
Mm.
Nashville. And I have invited her over to do a space clearing and to make my decluttering plan for my
Mm.
house this year.
Good job.
Yes, it's a little terrifying,
I hear
but
you.
I'm coming from it as Melody does from a place of non-judgment and excitement.
Mm. Oh, I like
so,
that.
so I think my hashtag is going to be it's going to be something about decluttering. I think it's just going to be decluttering diva. Yeah, I'm gonna put
Okay.
on the cape. I'm gonna put on the decluttering diva cape,
Okay. Decluttering diva.
right? And
Yeah.
y'all know I've been traveling so much. Most of my systems have held, but there's some that I usually do around that break, Christmas to New Year's, that haven't. And so I'm gonna put on my decluttering diva cape. So Marla, thank you so
Love
much
it.
for joining us. Thank you for being with us and showing up and
Yeah.
being an incredible collaborator and a fan of Women Connected in Wisdom and just such a wise woman yourself. I'm just so grateful to know you and be in community with you.
Oh, thank you. Like I said, I'm so happy and proud of what y'all are doing in every way. Like really, I want you to
Thank
really,
you.
Shannon. Yes, celebrate and pause and celebrate what
Yes.
the
Mm.
gift that you're giving all of us. So thank you. I'm so honored to be a part
Thank you
of
so
your
much.
100th show. Thank you for the invite.
Right?
Yes.
We will talk
Absolutely.
to you
Y'all take
soon,
care of
my
yourself.
friend.
You too.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
What? What? We weren't sure who was going to show up today because we know most of our ladies are triple booked.
Right.
They're doing a lot of wonderful, wild stuff,
Yeah.
and just so grateful
Yeah.
for those connections. So grateful for the ones that maybe listening but couldn't be on today, and
Right.
I just want to say again, thank you to our listeners. Thank you for the people who keep showing up, who send us comments, who like, subscribe, and review because y'all, that
Yes.
helps us
Yeah, it
tremendously.
does.
on your favorite podcast platform.
Hmm.
And is there anything else you want to say, Shannon?
I think about when you ask me this, and I feel like I should have really good answers here, but I just feel so full of everything, you know? Again, genuinely feel like I'm in my purpose. I love talking about the 8 dimensions, and I'm super excited to do it more. I always feel like, okay, we get to an hour, we've talked for a good amount of time, but
Mhm.
it's not enough. And so I think
Right.
that's my biggest thing. If you feel like it's not enough and you want to go deeper, you want to continue to increase and be more intentional in your dimensions of wellness, then join us at Women Connected in Wisdom community. We're about to kick that off actually tonight. So if you have time, if you want to make time for your dimensional wellness, join us at www again dot womenconnectedinwisdom.com, and we'll be more than happy to partner with you, get you aligned with the right people for the dimension that you're looking to go deeper in, and be on the journey with you.
Right? There's a big purple button when you get to our website that
Yeah.
says join our community. So that tells you
Yeah.
how to get there. I have two more special shout outs I want to
Okay.
give. I
Okay.
want to say thank you to you, not only for being the co host, for Shayla Glow being the sponsor of Women Connecting Wisdom. You jumped in, um, I want to say, with both feet
Yeah.
glowing from head to toe.
Thank you.
And I also want to give a shout out to Sati Mura, who is behind the scenes every week, who is one of our authors, one of our friends, one of our collaborators. And
Yeah.
just, we couldn't do it without you, Sati. And we're
No.
so grateful for you and to be in connection and collaboration and community. And y'all, if you want to meet, like this Saturday,
Yeah.
join us at Overture at Buckhead. We kick it off at 11:30 a.m.
Hmm.
and we are there until 4:30. There's going to be wellness events happening all day. Oh, till
Until
4.
four.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
4:30 is for
Yeah.
us. Yeah, no problem.
Cleanup's 4:30. Don't show up at 4:30.
No.
And but you'll meet our local Atlanta authors. You will meet a couple of our Asheville authors because they're driving in,
Yeah.
and it's just going to be fun. Like, come
Yeah.
hang out with us.
Yeah,
So
I'm ready to celebrate with everybody. Sheila said some of us haven't met in person, and I don't know why I forgot that we hadn't met, but I said, "Oh, I have never seen Sheila in person, have I?"
right,
Yeah, I forgot. I
that's
feel like I know her.
wild.
It's
That
crazy.
is wild to me.
Yeah.
Okay, well that we're going to change that this year.
Yeah, I mean, we're about to
So
go on tour. It's fine.
I love it. Yeah, we need to
Yeah.
go up to Pittsburgh
Yeah.
and go see her and Verna and go have a signing party up there. That would be super fun.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Okay, guys. Well, again, thank you so much for listening, all of your support for our first 100 episodes. This is the wrap of season 11. Excuse me, next week is the wrap of season 11. So, for being here through all of it, we'll see you live at 5 next week. In the meantime, be well, be wise, be whole. We'll see you in the
Peace, y'all.
community. Peace.